Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another front load and another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and of course, the new, once again revised and shortened disclaimers. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find several pertinent links right there in the description box. That does indeed include the article written by Neuroclastic, the threat against Neuroclastic for writing it from the JRC, and also including a link to their GoFundMe to help them take care of any legal fees in case the JRC ever bans up. Now, to our trigger warnings. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you will hear vivid descriptions of and catch short surveillance pictures and video of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you do have young children, please utilize the headphones. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. There is profanity and we speak on dark subjects. I am working on getting my profanity down because I need to get this message at what's going on at the JRC out there more than I do to placate my own pride. So I'm going to be working on that, but it will slip every so often. And we do speak on very dark subjects, so if your kid is 16 and younger and watching this, parental supervision is advised. Also, in regards to triggers, the number one triggering capital of planet Earth does just so happen to be the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center. You are going to see gaslighting, victim blaming, a bunch of things listed out to you with absolutely zero context and a remarkable way of avoiding the constant multiple elephants and red flags in the room that is their signature. So prepare yourselves for that. Be prepared for the stupid and for the elephants in the room that, I'll be honest, those of us in the field are better able to see. I'm going to let you know what those are, what the context is, and point out all the never ending stupidity. So be prepared for that. Alright. So now we are going back to where we left off. I do want to comment at the end of the paragraph for the one we went over last time, where they, of course, all these evaluations and medicines were implemented for nearly 3 years with no change, to point out for the 90th trillionth time, JRC is again avoiding to answer the question of whether, before all of this was tried, if a full functional behavioral assessment was done properly outside of the JRC's control before that poor kid was thrown into program after program or not. Since it is the JRC, I'm going to say it's probably not. But the obvious has some mystical way of eluding the JRC. And they try to escape accountability in regards to literally anything whatsoever. Far worse than the neurotypical world right now. And if you've seen the state of the world lately, that is saying something. So, let's get to it here. Just let me remind you all, it doesn't matter what interventions, what medications, residential, school, or community-based programs you put kids into. If they don't have that full functional behavioral assessment done first, so that you have all pertinent information in front of you for the treatment team, the circle of support have at the ready so that it is much better able to make an educated decision in regards to what programs are going to best assist the kid. They're going to fail. You can't try to do this without addressing what's causing the behaviors. You can't even find out exactly what those are by throwing your kid into one program after another, or their school doing so however it's done. Because those schools also need that foundational information from get-go. Otherwise, just like the parents, they're guessing. We do have a severe problem throughout this country that there is no real way, no agency or anything that really helps parents to navigate the service system. There are some places, like, weirdly, for reasons that I can't quite wrap my brain around even now, we know how the things need to be done here in the Missouri GOP hellscape. There are many states, however, where this does not seem to be the case. We leave these poor parents floundering. If they're given any direction whatsoever, it's usually the wrong direction, because instead of doing the assessment, you're immediately already trying to throw them into early intervention before you even know in what areas they need that intervention in. This is a problem that does need to be addressed. These parents are not psychic. Okay? Nor is this field their specialty. We need to get, at the very least, far better resources in parents' hands so that they know what steps to take in what order, so that they can make the very best educated decisions when it comes time to choose the treatment programs that's going to best address the issues that their kid is struggling with. I'll be honest, I don't know what that answer is yet. I don't know if it's a separate department, whether we need to start getting groups of volunteers together from parents maybe who are a little bit further along in the journey to help and act as a mentor and a resource for parents that are about ready with their kid to enter into the service system. But there needs to be something, because when there's not, you have places like the JRC that swoop in, scoop your kid up, tell you nothing, and sit there and essentially write their own checks for affinity off of your child's pain and suffering. Something does need to be done so that they have a way to navigate the service system in the best way that's going to help their kid. All right, let me get to the other paragraph before I go another 30 minutes of ranting before actually reading the paragraph. The JRC sought and received permission from the Massachusetts Probate Court to supplement RAG's treatment plan with the GED, which commenced on March the 17th, 2024. If you make me say it again, JRC, I will eventually find a way to get a recording of my voice, literally my voice, to repeat to you over and over and over again at top volume as humanly possible, attach it to a bullhorn, and schedule it to play until doomsday, Judges do not go to medical school. They go to law school. I do not understand to this date why that is so difficult for you and all your Kool-Aid drinkers to understand, JRC. But judges are not the best individuals in regards to making decisions in regards to a kid's health care in this field. Now you can say, but they are advised by the people whose paychecks you write. I might actually be willing to take back my words if you all were willing to actually bring in an expert before one of these legal proceedings that literally has no affiliation with the JRC whatsoever in regards to whether this is a good plan or not. But since that has literally to current date never happened, you have to excuse me while I don't hold my breath. You know, I like being alive. Shock treatment is not a supplement to a treatment program. You want to know what a supplement is? A supplement in regards to a treatment program could be something as simple as me taking a B12 multivitamin that I get from the vitamin shop just up and around that way. That's a supplement. What you do is torture. It is not treatment. It's not revolutionary. It's not groundbreaking silence. It's torture. You are no different than the butchers of the Spanish Inquisition. Nor are you better from the Massachusetts judges that assigned women to hang for being witches from Salem within your own state. Judges make mistakes all the time. It's literally why the appeals process exists. And I am going to trust a professional whose paychecks are not being signed by the JRC to speak to whether this is an actual good intervention or not over a judge with no medical training whatsoever who went to law school. Please stop bringing it up. It does not help your argument. What it does make you look like is completely and utterly tone deaf, condescending, and ignorant. Just saying. Good God. It's old, it's buried, it's not relevant, and it proves nothing. Stop with the stupidity. For the love of God, I can only take so much. The positive effect was immediate and dramatic. Why do I have to keep replying to you all with the exact same things over and over and over again? To the point that I can probably have people around me when I sleep at night hear the words come out of my mouth. If I'm in a meltdown, one of the more self-harming ones or aggressive ones where I'm throwing chairs and couches against walls, if my brother's hanging out with me that day and he punches me in the face, I'm pretty sure that that behavior will be stopped in its tracks. I'm not going to hire my brother and offer to pay him to punch me in the face every time it looks like I might possibly go into a meltdown. That argument is insane. literally insane. Okay? Any sudden violence upon anyone's person is going to stop them in the tracks with whatever they're doing, whether it's something harmful to themselves or whether it's rather benign. The shock of violence does tend to freeze people. This is not groundbreaking science that's going to save us all. It is excuses to excuse your butchery, your abuse, and your torture from some of the most vulnerable kids on planet Earth. Okay? You don't see anyone else outside of the JRC using that to say, maybe you should just, rent apartments with your sibling, and whenever it looks like they're going to melt down, your job is to punch them in the face. You want to know why? A, it's a temporary solution. It works all 5 minutes. And more likely than not, especially those of us who are abuse survivors, it's going to provoke a more intense and more aggressive action than what was going to come out previously. I can actually say for a fact as myself that was 100% the case. Had a meltdown once because stepsister was trying to prevent me from going to the bus stop to go to school. She hit me in the head with the phone. Now, I had been just yelling previously and trying to get past her and out the door. After that action, I slammed her into the corner between the wall and the door and punched her multiple times. Okay? Now, did that hit with the phone stop me for a moment from the action I was engaging in? Yes. Did it actually help matters? Or did they make them worse? To the point my poor brother had to get up and separate us after working a ridiculous shift into the wee hours of the morning. Okay? If you interrupt someone engaging a behavior with violence, it's going to stop for a few seconds. This isn't groundbreaking science. It's just regular fact. However, by visiting someone going through a behavior with violence upon our person, how long that behavior is stopped is very, very short. Okay? When we come to, so to speak, we do retaliate. Which is why you hear from the JRC that once they were taken off the device, the behaviors not only came back but became worse. Yeah, that is a natural reaction some of us have to abuse. It's not a defense of their program. Okay? It is not the type of program. It's not something you can do that's going to. Sorry, I'm kind of a loss for words here. It's not something that is going to benefit us in a meaningfully good way for years to come. You're forcing me to stop a behavior that is disturbing to you or keeping you from doing what you want me to do. An act of violence influence is only as long as that threat is hanging over your head. If you are autistic and you have an autistic snap, right after that violence was visited upon you, yeah, yeah, okay? It is not, it's not just a long-term solution because it isn't. It shouldn't even been considered a treatment program of any kind, point blank, period. Period. But if they do better, they fade off, and now it's nearly zero behaviors. Oh, I'm sorry, but Susie had a regression, and she slugged me in the leg when I told her to get up and throw her food away for, standing up and having a behavior. So I went ahead and I put her back on the device and shocked her over 50 times. That is the real reality in regards to the JRC's so-called groundbreaking program. Because if you don't have that assessment, you don't know what the triggers are. You are flying blind. The JRC do not do anything at all whatsoever to help deal with those triggers, teach replacement behaviors, teach other self-coping methods in any way, shape, or form. It's literally just violence, which they tell you works, because as anyone who has ever dealt with abuse, we're going to do whatever you tell us to do and put forth whatever public picture of ourselves that you want us to, so we can at least halt some of the violence that is being committed against our person. That is not a long-term solution. It isn't progress, because what's causing the behaviors is not being dealt with. So you're going to continue on a never-ending circle of masking, exhaustion, behaviors over and over and over again. And folks, that is one of the biggest reasons why so many of us die young. Okay? Good God. Now, let's go here, and it proves in quality of life. You see, this is one of the number one things that makes me truly believe, that it's actually the staff at the JRC who are the ones that need to be in the straitjackets. Having the threat of violence hang over your head all day, every day, is not in any way, shape, or form conceivable, as they put it here, improved quality of life. Somebody gaining a threat of violence against my person that just lays just above my neck every single goddamn day of my life. What's supposed to be the improvement? You're treating out one abuser for another. That is the only difference. You have switched my self-abuse with you abusing me instead, but nothing has changed here. You've been told this, JRC, multiple times by multiple people within your own field, as well as other service providers, for decades. And yet, for whatever reason, you still insist on dying on this hill. And for reasons I can't comprehend or understand, but absolutely keeps me up at night, is that the federal government continues to let you do it year after year, student after student, generation after generation. And the only comfort that I actually have in all of this is, just like me, one day you are going to stand before the throne of God. That's the only real relief in all of this I actually do have. Aggressive, health dangerous behaviors occurred in mean rates. You're showing the reduction, but JRC, you do it without looking at it through the lens of reality. Yes, fitting violence on a person affects behavior for a very short amount of time. It does not address what is causing the issues in the first place. It causes us to form a mask. Masking is extremely difficult. It is extremely unnatural, which to our person, and that's what makes it so exhausting and hard to keep up. Those behaviors disappearing after the device doesn't surprise me. But what you are being so dishonest about with the parents and everyone else is the fact that you know that it is only a matter of time before the mask slips, because we are just too exhausted and too beat down to be ordered to muster up enough energy to keep it up. Then out comes the behavior, and we're back at square one again. That is the reality of your so-called treatment program, where nothing at all is actually resolved, nothing is addressed. These kids do not progress at all. We're going to close on that one, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do tend to get removed from time to time, so please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, don't forget to hit the comments. I appreciate your time this evening. I'll be back here with you here in a few minutes. Bye-bye, everyone.